And I would like to invite anyone who has an art testimony, breakthroughs, revelations, encounters with the Lord through your art, any art testimonies. I'd love to hear.
Well, I could share something really brief.
Please, I'm going to spotlight you.
Regarding my testimony. Regarding my art testimony, I should say. The reason I did that painting was since I began this journey with art, the Lord has been speaking to me about inner healing. I've been through a lot of inner healing already, but he's been pointing out some stuff in my life that, such as this, that pertaining to this painting, that I never really thought about that part of my life when I was, before I was saved. I'm Indigenous. I live in Canada. I got saved in California 31 years ago. And I lived in California for a long time. And then the Lord brought me back to Canada for ministry, outreach, sharing the gospel with the Indigenous people up here. And then eventually took me into social work, and I was still sharing the gospel and the love of Jesus in that field.
Awesome.
But anyways, long before I was saved, I don't know how many people down there in the US, if you hear too much about missing and murdered Indigenous women. Up here, it's a big issue, a big deal. And it's been going on for years and years now. And maybe once or twice a year, it's observed. But the Lord just showed me recently, a couple of days ago, they might just observe that, the people, the nation, but the Indigenous people, of course, are always observing that, and that's always on their hearts and minds, and as well as mine. And but anyways, when I was before I was born again, a long time ago, before I was born again, I was in a city called Calgary with my friend, my cousin, and we were walking back to. We didn't know anybody in that city. We were just there with a friend. We're just doing crazy things, and this guy picked us up. And he said, "Do you want to ride home?" So we said, "Yeah." So I got in the front of the car, front seat, and my cousin was just going to get in the back, and he drove really, really, really fast. And I was screaming, and I said, "Wait, we got to get my friend." And he says, "F your friend." He took me way off to someplace in some part of Calgary. I don't know where I was, but we were in some abandoned parking lot where he almost raped me. I didn't know the Lord then. And it's a really miraculous. He was threatening me if I got off the car. He asked me if I was scared. I said, "Yes, I'm scared." And he says, "Well, I always get my way with Native girls."
Oh.
And yeah, and then I didn't know what to say. I was really, really scared. I thought I was done. And he said, "Go ahead and get off the car if you want, but you're going to see what's going to happen to you." And I just sat there really quiet, and I was really just trembling, scared. And it's really by the grace and mercy of God. All of a sudden, he changed his mind. All of a sudden, he had a whole change, changed his whole, you know what? What am I doing? He says, "I want to go take you back to the street where I got you from, drop you off." Well, he didn't take me to the exact place, but he took me back to the street, back to where people were, cars, and where people were and stuff. And he dropped me off there. And then I was walking down the street. I was wondering how I was going to get back to this house. I didn't even know where I was. It was a whole different. didn't know where I was at all.
Right.
And
no cell phones.
And then this other car pulls up, and I started screaming. But the guy that was driving that car, there was something about his face.
Oh,
Me
you
to
froze.
trust him.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
He said, "Did anybody hurt you?" I said, "Yeah." Because I was hurt, I was traumatized, I was hurt. And it wasn't a rape, but it came pretty close. And then he says, "Well, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you." He says, "I want to give you a ride home." Then I had the address in my purse. And so I found the address. I said, "Yeah, okay." And I got on his car, just trusted him. Right after this other guy dropped me off. But I got on that car because I trusted this man. And he was just something about his voice, I just trusted him. And then he took me to that address, but he seemed to know right exactly where he was going. Then he said, "This is the house." And he dropped me off, and I thanked him. And then he said, "Well, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you." He says, "I want to give you a ride home." Then I got on his car, just trusted him. And he was just something about his voice, I just trusted him. And he took me to that address, but he seemed to know right exactly where he was going. Then he dropped me off, and I thanked him. And then I went in and my cousin was there, and the next day we got some money and went home. And then the Lord been reminding me of that incident. And so yesterday morning I prayed, I said, Lord, I'd like to do a painting along concerning the Indigenous women, missing and murdered Indigenous women. And the reason I got it on red is because every year to observe that, the people up in Canada they wear red. They wear like a red T-shirt to represent, to honor the missing Indigenous women, and they have events all over the different cities and different or Native agencies, and they have red dresses and posters with red women dressed in red and stuff like that. So, and I prayed and I asked the Lord to show me. I don't know how to draw a person, so I just said, this is an abstract. I gotta put something in there that will represent the women. And so that's what that red is. I know it kind of looks like trees, but it's really, it represents red dresses.
Okay, I'm trying to get that painting up here for us since I did find it. Let me see if I can share it now to the rest of us. And why doesn't it want to? I guess I could share it off my desktop. And here it is. Okay, can you see it? Yes. Okay, awesome. So this is Sandy's painting. So the dark brownish red is really representing the red dresses that the women are wearing.
No, that doesn't represent the red dresses.
Okay.
It's up there, the little trees.
Oh, up in here.
Yeah, that represents the red dresses. I'll get my painting and I'll show it to you.
Yeah, okay. Probably in here.
Okay, so this part represents death and destruction.
Yeah.
With a little bit of white, I highlight a little bit of white because they're still in the midst of death and destruction. God always has a measure, a lot of hope, you know. So I put a measure of hope there. But all these little red here, these would represent the missing and murdered Indigenous women. Some of them running, or and things like that. And there's a little red there, a little red there. Put a little red there, and I put a little bit of red and
up in here
there, and some silver representing hope and healing, and that's what the yellow was for, hope and healing, as well as the other colors.
Wow, Sandy, that's quite a powerful piece. You can feel the emotion in it. Thank you for sharing your story. That's that you were really miraculously saved. It sounds like maybe an angel came that day.
That's what a couple of pastor friends of mine were telling me. I had a fellowship with them on Sunday. I was sharing the story with them, and the Lord has really, really put that on my heart, as I know He's preparing me for before I retired, I was a social worker, and I was in mental health counseling. And I used to work with all Indigenous people. So I heard a lot of the traumatizing stories, not only my own family, but right from the community. And so now He's preparing me for a ministry in inner healing and to take healing at large too. So, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, that's quite a powerful testimony. Would anybody like to comment on that? And then we can, while we're at it, we'll go ahead and review your painting from an artistic perspective as well. What I was thinking of doing is kind of an interesting that it worked out this way so far this morning. I was going to hold off and do our encounter after we do review, because it'll lead us into homework and such. So, so that's okay with you. That's what we'll do today. But before we do that, let's see if anybody wants to comment on what they heard from you so far. Welcome, Cindy. I didn't see you sneak in. I'm glad you did. And I will go ahead and remove the spotlight.
Yeah, I'll comment. I mean, I just feel like that was such a powerful story. Also, thank you, Sandy, for sharing. I feel like it's, I guess you could say causing me to think of when the Lord had an angel for me, because I mean, it's only by the grace of God that I never really got into drugs. I was hanging around the wrong people.
Yeah.
But the Lord just kept His hand on me, I guess you could say. And then I came to the Lord when I was 19. But yeah, that I'm gonna think about that. But thank you, Sandy.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's an interesting segue because we're going to talk about Psalm 42 today, and it just sort of might fit a little bit. All right, well, while we're here, let's go back and take a look at Sandy's painting. Now we've heard the incredible, powerful testimony of it, but we also want to look at it from a just a critiquing it as a piece of art. So emotionally, it served its purpose. Sandy is getting in touch with some deep roots, both her ethnic roots, her family and genetics, the nation's pain of how they've treated the native indigenous women over the generations and probably still, and then her processing of that. So from that perspective, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's accomplished what it should. I think many of us have had some what I would call inner healing paintings here on this journey, and this is one of them. And art is a wonderful way, is a wonderful therapy to get in touch with innermost feelings that are hard to express. The next time, Sandy, you paint it, even from that perspective, is now to paint and reflect your personal experience that you just told us about. That would be and also a next step to consider carrying this theme across and just continuing your own inner healing journey. Okay, so all of that said, it's wonderful, right? But now we're going to look at it with an artistic, critical eye. And when I say critical, I don't mean mean or attacking or anything like that. I mean, just like from an aesthetic point of view, what could make this piece even more powerful? So I'm going to invite others to share. I do have it on display, right? You can see the painting? Okay,
Yeah.
good. So who would like to comment on, so the way, we'd like to do reviews, right? We've already told her how wonderful the painting is from the emotional perspective, and we can't take away from that. And the colors are lovely. But so we want to acknowledge what's good about it. We also want to acknowledge how could it be a better painting? Because that's what we want to do here is not only get inner healing in the journey, because that's part of it, but also to become better artists. So with that said, I'd love to hear from somebody, because you've heard me review and critique on paintings before. So who's brave enough to give it a go?
I would say to add the silver leaf. You know how you have,
Okay.
you say to have us use the gold leafing. I bought some silver leafing. I think the silver leafing would have more effect.
Than silver paint, or just to add to it? Where would you put it?
Well, where she has the silver paint, I would do
Okay.
the silver leafing.
Okay. All right. That's a good idea. Okay. Sue, I think you were going to offer something.
I was just going to say, for me at the moment, it's very flat, or it feels a bit flat, and it perhaps could do with a little more definition within the colours themselves.
Okay. And how
So
would
maybe,
she do that?
I don't know, maybe she's got black in the lower one. You don't really want to put black into it, but maybe a darker colour of like in the middle, it's all yellow. But there's no depth to that piece of yellow. The green is in, but it doesn't seem to. If you put a darker green behind the little tufts, it might give a bit more depth to that area.
Okay. So you'd like to see that yellow not so flat, a little bit more depth. So okay, good. Thank you. What else? Who else? Who else wants to chime in here? Come on down. Don't be afraid. You're going to get yours next. Anybody? Oh, you guys. Part of learning how to paint is learning how to see. right? So I want you to see what's good and what needs improving.
Claudia,
Sandy, what would you do different?
for myself, as I look at it, even after I got done yesterday and this morning, I was thinking maybe I should have added a little bit more shades of brown, maybe with the bottom part, the ground area, the bottom part. I thought maybe that's what I should, just a little different, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking about that.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. So, all right. So if there's anybody else, otherwise I'll go ahead and offer up my observations. So let me spotlight me so you guys can see me. All right. So Sandy, you know, we've already said how wonderful it is from an emotional and personal perspective. So now we're just going to look at it critically. So the first thing that I would suggest is what bothers me the most is these three distinct layers. And unless that is a significant meaning, even if it was a significant meaning, what it does is each layer sort of draws you, like, we don't know where to look, because there's brown here. It's kind of a warmish brown, I'm thinking. The did you use raw sienna or burnt sienna? Probably burnt sienna, maybe. Burnt sienna. Yeah, which is warm. Then the black in there is cool, so, or neutral. That could be neutral. But so what's bothering me is these three different color sections. So what could you do? So I want you to think outside the box. So you're representing women who have been abused, murdered, kidnapped, trafficked, whatever, terrible things. So instead of thinking of it horizontally, what if you thought vertically? And instead of, you know, these three colors represented, you created a sort of a sense of movement. So maybe sort of almost like an up from the ashes kind of thing. So, you know, you could incorporate some of these three colors, same three primary colors that you're using here, and maybe do a dance with your paint. Maybe entangling colors. I want you to just, all of you, be able to play with different ways of considering how you might represent your emotions. In this case, this is a inner healing piece. So, you know, what else could you do? So I think layering, you know, putting some color behind, maybe putting a bright red, a wash of a red in the background first, and then doing something over it. Being a couple of things like the yellow and the green. Did you add green or did it make green when you put it over the blue? Stay unmuted. Yeah.
It made green.
Okay, so that's something to consider. Whenever you have blue and yellow, even if they are both dry, or one's dry when you add the other, they will it will tend to go green when you're even when they're next to each other. So you have to think of that when you're doing that. So, you know, if you were to do this again, did you want green or did you want yellow?
I wanted yellow, but I didn't mind the green after it turned green.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So so that's okay. That's your choice, your preference. So I wanted to know if it was intentional or not, because most of the times those are happy accidents, we call them. Oh, look, it's green. I kind of like that. The other thing you can do is, if you notice, most of the colors in the burnt sienna in front, the yellow in the middle, is they're the same values. If you were to squint at this, the the yellow sort of disappears in value. It sort of blends. It's another thing you can do. Did I tell you all this? You know, if you take a picture with your phone, so that you can take it on your phone, Sandy, that the photograph you probably took with your phone, right? Or something to take the picture. You could go to that now. You could open it up. You could all do this with your photographs that you texted me. And let's see. And then, so bring up your photo that you took of yourself, of your painting, go to edit and go to filters. I'm on an iPhone, so I don't know how different it is on an Android, and slide over to either monochrome or noir, which is black and white. Okay. And you can, especially monotone will give you a good idea. So when you do that, you'll be able to see your values. So here's this is that abstract I took, and it's behind me. As you can see, there's a lot of mid-tone grays in there, getting a lot of reflection. But you can see there's some very distinct blacks and whites. And that's what you want to have with, especially with an abstract, any painting really. You don't want all the same value. And so sometimes if you're not careful, it'll appear the same value. So Sandy, are you able to do that on the fly? Were you able to do that just now?
I was just looking, I have a Android. And
Okay,
I'm
so
just looking,
there's got to
I'm
be
just
a way to turn it to black and white or
Yeah,
monotone.
yeah, I can. Yeah, I found it.
Okay, so display it for us. Hold it up to the screen.
The
Let's see
black
if
and
we-
white.
Yep.
So this is the black and white.
Okay. All right. So it's making my point that yellow is disappearing. It became
Yep.
very light and neutral. So you've got to make that stand out. So that's a good way to check your art. Always take a photo of it and do it in black and white or monotone, and you can evaluate, oh my gosh, do I have enough contrast in this painting, or is everything mid-tone value gray? You know, we didn't do a lot of mid-tones, but we'll get there. I can't teach you everything in one course, but you do want to make sure you have enough. Cannot control mic with AirPods. Okay, now I know. All right. Thank you very much, Sandy. Thank you for
You're
starting
welcome.
us off. Very
Thank
good,
you.
very good. All right, who would like to go next with their painting? Okay, Lucy, look at you. I love you. You're so just like me. Let me get you spotlighted, and then let me go find your painting. Is it the one you displayed earlier today? I saw it this morning.
Yes, this morning.
Okay, all right, let me go find that. I think the easiest way to do that is to go to media. Hey, where is all my media? There we go. I think this is it, right?
Yes.
I got it. Okay, pretty. All right, tell us about it.
Well, I actually had a whole different painting as of last night. I
You
did
mean
not
this
like-
painting looked different as of last night?
No, I had a whole different
Different,
canvas,
okay.
and I
Okay,
didn't like it. I was like, I couldn't grasp the manner in which what I was trying to paint, because I pulled it off of Google Images,
okay.
and I had a few saved, and this was one of them that I had saved, and I did a lot better on this one.
Great. Okay, was this an image that you found somewhere else and you're trying to replicate?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, what do you love about it?
it's not something I would choose to do as far as like my taste, but it was, I
Mhm.
felt like it was more of what you wanted us to try and create.
Okay, so you pushed yourself outside of your comfort zone. I appreciate that. I want you, you guys had free will to do any kind of abstract you wanted this for this last exercise. So I apologize if I didn't convey that very well, but I did want you to incorporate techniques that we've learned along the way, because these techniques will help you as you go to create other paintings. So can you, do you have access to the original that
Yes.
you tried to duplicate? I'd be curious to see that. Can you post
Sure.
that maybe on Facebook?
I can share my screen. Oh,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, do share your screen. That would be perfect. Let me see if I can. So I'll stop. I guess I have to
looks
stop
like,
sharing
oh,
so you
okay.
can do it. And then you can do it. And then let me make sure you can, I'll give you permission. Okay. There you go. Now give it a try. Okay. Wow, that's pretty. I can see why you would like it. All right. So now, would you like to know how to create that kind of look?
Yes, I had a hard
Okay.
time with the browns and the black. I had a hard time the top where it incorporated the brown. I just had a hard time with the blending.
Right. Yeah, that's the tricky thing. This is, if we can you double click on the Monet image, or Monet like it says, the one that that's big. Can we make that bigger? In other words, can we just isolate that?
That's the biggest, I mean,
That's as big as it will be. Okay. All right. So let's quit sharing that. Okay, you can stop sharing, and then we'll
okay.
go back to your painting. This will stop other, okay, great. And then we'll go back to yours. Okay, that gives us an idea. So I think you got the colors pretty good. I love I love some of those brown taupey colors next to the turquoisey color. I love that, and some purples and some greens, and of course the white. So the way they created that is there's layers and layers and layers and layers, and there's that sort of technique of some of this is in here. Even this, where we just did on this old sample that we were playing with, lots of blending. And you notice in that particular version, a lot of it was vertical, that original, and then
Yes.
they kind of jiggled it with, so it's the way you apply the paint would be, instead of just all right, let me
It
stop
felt
screen
like
sharing.
I didn't have the correct brushes.
Well, you might not, you should experiment. So there's probably been palette knife in there. It might even have cold wax over it. That's a complex painting that you're yeah, no, I can tell by looking at it. That's got a lot of work in that painting, that original painting. But the way you do that is to is a lot of let's do it this way. Let's go like this. I'll just do this. Let's see, over here. Wake up. Follow me over here.
And you're not spotlighted.
Yeah. Oh, that's part of the problem too. Okay, let's take you. And I'd like me. So come back over here. There you go. Hi. Okay, so come up here. Come up here. Come on. Come on. I'm not doing it. All right. Yeah, it did pretty good. All right. So this is I'm telling you, this technology is going to kill me. So part of what we did here with this I turned this painting around as I painted it all morning in the healing rooms when I did
Oh.
it Saturday. I just painted it every which way until I finally kind of landed on, I think I like this way best. And then I worked it a little bit. So what they did in that painting that you're observing is like there's layers and layers and layers. And then there's brush strokes that kind of come down over this muted stuff. And then there's some that kind of going this way. And they're kind of almost stair-stepping a little bit
Right.
there to get that effect. So you just have to play until you mimic that effect. And that's how you learn how to create the look you want. And so copying somebody else's work is a great teacher, because once you figure that out, you'll I guess get it back to me. You'll come on. I'll get there. There we go. You'll have that technique down.
Okay.
So keep playing. Good
Thank you.
job. I think you did a great job on the color. Okay, who else? Okay, Joanna. Let me get you down here. Go ahead, unmute. I will spotlight you. We'll go find your painting. Let me find that. Hello. Come on. All right. Oh, I don't know which one's yours. Oh, yes, I do. I remember
The
now.
dancing on the waves.
Yes, I remember. I remember. I got it. Okay, there we go. Very pretty. All right, tell us. Whoops,
Oops.
my mistake. Okay, I wanted to zoom here a little bit. Okay,
So,
so here's,
so I my last several ones have been like in the healing and all those that kind of thing. And this
Yeah.
one I was like, I want to change, I want to dance, I want to be, with a flow. And I love this song. My high school friend sent it to me a while ago, and it becomes one of my favorite song, and my son's favorite song too. So I like purple, and I'm still struggling with that train painting, the previous one. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do the same mistake, like getting so many colors. So I decided to stay with couple colors only.
mm-hmm.
And I always like purple. So I chose purple, turquoise, and blue, and trying to get a different shades among these three colors. And then I just turn on that song and repeat mode, keep on clicking, again. And then I just paint. And the very first part, as I was painting, the bottom layer, there's a lot of white patches. I'm like, ooh, I want to fill all the white patches, but maybe not. I don't need to fill it all the white patches. So I leave a little bit here and there, and then finally, it's a little bit messy. So I ended up, I just let my hands swirl the black one and the blue one, really swirling it and like dancing. Like as I hear the songs, I just let my hands, whatever it goes,
Yeah,
and just like that way. And
awesome.
and so I ended up, the black would be a highlight of those blue and the purple, because it was quite messy over there. Trying to bring it back to to the center. And then I felt like I need to add the white to contrast, because I feel like the white is like, the black is too dark, the whole painting. So I used the light white to highlight it, to make it like ascending with God, like that way. So it's like dancing, like pull my heart higher, lighter that way. And then final piece with the gold, I feel like, glory, of course. How can I make it without gold color? I love gold to make an accent.
Did you paint those swirls, or is it a
No, I'll
stamp?
show you what I use. Ooh, it smells
Okay.
good.
'Cause they
I
look-
used a very,
look
I
really
bought it
nice.
a while ago. I'm researching at different things. What can I buy, you know? So I
Yeah.
bought this, somebody just said that, oh, just use an old traditional egg whisk. And
Oh.
it's just like that kind of curl and with a
Absolutely.
handle. Can you
Yeah.
give me 1 minute? Let me go downstairs and grab it for you to see.
You
Hold
don't
on.
need to.
Okay.
I think we can all picture it.
Okay,
Yes.
so I dip
Yeah.
it and then
It's
I'm
got that.
grabbing
It's
food
got
that
that. It's a spring. It's almost like
it's
a spring.
That's right. I just stamp it like boom. So I'm trying, okay, which part that I stamp it and boom, 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 and then just add some dots and that's it.
That's awesome. Okay, awesome. Well, I want to say this right here is my favorite part. Let me annotate.
Oh, I also use,
right in here.
yeah, that's the river, that's the water because dancing on the waves. But I also
Mhm.
added, if you see some tiny, really narrow thread of pink, I use a gel pen because I'm like, uh-oh, I forgot to use
Whoops.
different kind of medium and I'm supposed to. So I just added some gel pen at the very last minute.
Okay. Gotta stop this annotation thing. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't really see the gel pen per se.
Here.
But okay, here's some things. Overall, I think it's very pretty. It's
Mhm.
fun. It's beautiful. I would have, it depends on how it looked, but you could even have left more white than you did in the background.
Mhm.
It did get muddy over.
Mhm.
There's see that over in this area, it's kind of muddy, some of these spots. And that's that combination of the purple and the green, I think, or probably making it kind of muddy. I love the turquoise green popping through. And, like in these little spots, like here, I love little touches like that. This is where I'm talking about it kind of got muddy
Yeah.
in this. Yeah. So, in here now, neutrals, you could say we call it muddy in this moment because we know it's happened. I can see what happened, that it's those two colors blended and they kind of made it muddy. But sometimes we can intentionally do that because it's a little more neutral. You could have experimented and gone, okay, what would happen if I took those two colors that kind of made this grayish purple color and then add white to that and brighten it up a little bit? Could that be a good touch in there somewhere? So a lot of times abstracts really do need some of that, breathing room. Where do I clear these? I guess there. To breathe, to just give space. Sometimes, so this could use a little bit of breathing room, just, because it's a lot of movement. And so there might be just a place where you could add some like, oh,
Yeah.
I can rest there, right? But overall, it's very, very pretty, very well done. I loved your play and exploration in dance. And you're right, we have to have play. And that's why I did this thing at the healing rooms, because I've been working hard on an oil painting and I'm not very happy with it. And I've been working hard on it and I'm busy and my days are always, as most of yours are, chock full of too many things. And I needed space to breathe. So I did the abstract because it's freer for me to do that.
Yeah, thank you, Claudia. And I love to learn abstract because I have never painted an abstract and it's different kind of abstract. I try to make things to know that what it is, but I really want to do something like totally you can see, you can guess what it is. It's not realistic,
You can have
nothing like that.
fun.
So I think
you
this
can
is
just
fun.
have fun. Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. So
Thank
glad.
you.
Good job. Okay, who else? Who's next? Come on down. Come on down. Come on down. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? I mean, ladies, you want me to call on you, Karen? Come on down. All right, let me find you. You're muted.
Yeah, am I still muted? No,
No, now you're good.
Yeah.
Was it both of these here? These two? Oh, you.
No, one of them, what I did, and I didn't have much time this week. So is I found a painting that I had liked. It's kind of, it looks to me like flowers. That's the one on the right.
That's the one. Okay, so
Yeah,
let me
and then
go.
I
So
was trying to duplicate colors.
you're
Yeah.
able to see this. It's sharing. Am I sharing at the moment?
No,
Okay, all right. Let me
See
do
it?
it better. Okay. Well, when I first saw this, I'm like, oh, good job.
I wish. The other one to
Okay.
the left is what I did.
This
So,
is what you started. All right.
yeah, and I was going to try and finish it today, and I just didn't this morning, so I just left it. So
Okay.
the
Well,
colors.
good. Let's
yeah,
teach you how to do that. But what about the colors?
Well, they're brighter in person than they are in that photo. I'm still having trouble getting good light, I guess, when I take these pictures. So
Well, they never quite turn out good,
Yeah.
you know, as good. And don't forget, like this is an image that is displayed on a screen, so it always looks bright.
Yeah.
So, okay. But it looks like you got you're working the colors pretty good, I have to say, by comparison.
Trying
But
to get
here's
it
what
up.
here's what you're trying to do. You're trying to paint it in one sitting. You're trying to paint that look by just painting it left to right. It looks like you're going, right? Or maybe that's right to left.
Yeah,
but-
well, I kind of, if you look at the other one, it's darker on the right. Well, I guess it isn't. It just seemed like it was easier to start on that left-hand side.
Well,
And
you
then-
can start anywhere you want, but see
Yeah.
this white canvas? Whoops,
Yeah.
back to you. Okay, that's not how she or he painted this. So let me tell you how they painted this. First
There's
of
a lot
all,
of layers.
there's layers and layers and layers and layers, and in reality, they blocked in. And if you notice, they're not painting flowers. So like you're trying to paint leaves and petals. You see that on yours here?
Yeah, that's kind of where I gravitated to. Yeah.
Right. And you see that is not a petal.
No,
You
it's a
see
block.
anything that looks like a petal. It's a blob. There's a little bit of movement that you could say is grass. So this is an abstract painting of a realistic thing.
Right.
And so the way they did that is they blocked it in. The chances are they blocked in with all those dark shades of green in the bottom areas and some of the areas where they know they're going to want to go. Then they went in and blocked in. When I say blocked in, they're just putting some marks. They're not painting a flower. They're just putting color. And this technique could also be like a there's several ways you could do this painting. You could do the whole background in that greenish color and then come on top of it. It's probably been done in oil also. Hard to tell. Do you remember what it said?
No, it's just a poster from Pottery Barn. So,
Yeah, I know, but the original.
yeah, no, I didn't notice. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, so the original was probably done in oil.
Okay.
I'm thinking. But it looks to me like they overpainted. So the background was done first. They might have left it light where they knew they were going to bring it light.
Yeah.
And then they started overpainting it. So it's layers and layers and layers of color and blobs. And then here in at the end, they went in and added a little black or dark green, whatever that is, to imply a stem. So not very deliberate, not very representational. So for you, you started to get some of that going in here. Let's go back a little deeper like that. In a way, you're kind of rushing that technique. I'm guilty of doing the same thing, but like resist the temptation to put the highlights or the stems in that style that you're painting there, Karen, trying to copy, until the end. And then just go move color around. So go ahead and you can finish with this canvas. But the idea is you can see also brush strokes. see how this is? It's
Yeah.
like partially applied. That's a beautiful technique if you can master that. If you could just, let's zoom in here. So it looks to me like this white, it's probably phthalo blue with white, was put on over
Oh, okay.
this red. And then if you look at this orangey thing, that color was put on even over that. You can kind of see what layered over what if you look really closely, and see how they add this little bright pop of green here and there.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily match anything. Who knows what the original looked like? What they were painting from. But just
So
a little
they-
pop of that light green makes it pop, especially next to the red and the pink.
So you
Yes, go
have
ahead.
to, as you do these layers, you have to let them dry. I mean, you have to do this over.
It depends. So acrylic dries quickly. You can always take out a hair dryer.
Oh, true.
You can blow dry your, gotta fix this one. You can blow dry your paintings to get them to the next layer quicker. This technique there's some blending for sure. There's lots of blending in here, right? That can be done wet-ish, a lot of that is blended, but this kind of stuff going on here is done. It could even be wet, because if this was oil, it's always wet until the
Yeah.
darn thing's completely dry. You just have to learn how to apply it without blending it. So that's part of what you're learning, part of what you're exploring. So this was a challenging piece to try to duplicate. But I think you made a good attempt at it. So now what do you do with this? Do you want to, you could put a wash of color over this and use it as a layer, and then keep building upon it, see what would happen. You could just go ahead and treat it like it's almost not there, and start putting some of those. And if you also notice, the other thing is, see these big brush strokes? Did you use the same size brush on this whole
No,
project?
I used every brush I had. I think
Good.
it seems like the paints I have, the Liquitex, I'm having a hard time getting it on thick. Because you can see it over on the left. That's, sometimes I'm not even adding water and I'm still having trouble with it. Trying to find the right textures. It doesn't seem to be thick enough.
Is it Liquitex Basic? Is that what you're using?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I just want to use what I have. I bought the 24, and then I have
Yeah.
some other stuff that I bought at Hobby Lobby.
Okay. Well, just apply it thicker. Just put more on your brush. And it's
Can I
probably because
share?
it's a transparent.
I have I have this brush, Karen. I don't know if you want to see how big that is compared to my hand.
I can't see you. It's just me.
Okay,
And
let me add her here.
yeah, I have a big, but I have like these that I've been using, but I have a lot to learn.
Yeah, this one would totally do those flowers. See that? How
Yeah.
big it is to my hand.
Yeah.
I got this one
And
on
how
sale
big
for-
is the canvas you're using? 1620, was it?
Yeah, I just have the 1620.
Okay. So, yeah, thanks, Lucy. That's good.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So the idea here is to keep playing. Don't be afraid. Those colors, some of those colors, if they're, you're saying they're not thick enough, well, it's probably a transparent paint. So, so you could add a little opaque something to it, opaque, that'll get it to cover the canvas more. And just don't be afraid to keep layering, and just keep in mind that painting that you're using as your original is a technique. I have actually never taken a class to learn that technique, but I'm familiar with it. And it's almost like letting it come forward, putting color in there. And it's only at the end that you're putting in some blues and some greens and some whites and a stem that makes it have any connotation of a flower. But until then, it's just a bunch of color. Yeah, so don't try to paint
Hard.
flowers. Don't paint flowers. Let that be an exercise in color, in imagination, and
Okay.
layering. Okay?
Okie doke, thanks.
You can do it. I love it. I love that. I love the challenge of that. Okay, let's see. Sherilyn or Sandy or Cindy or Sue. I got all my S sounds. Sue, Sandy, Cindy, Sue, Cindy, Sherilyn. Who wants to go next? Sue, you're unmuted. Come on down.
I will.
Okay, let me find you. Let's see. Let me see. Did you display hers before or after? Wrong way. I'll find you. There you are. Do you, is this displayed for you to see?
No,
No.
I can't see it.
Okay. All right. Let me share it. Okay, here you go. All right. You are spotlighted and you can see this, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Tell us about it.
Well, the canvas has been in here in this room for nearly a week before I could even get paint on the paper. And I had sort of thought I'm going to do blue sky and green grass, and I was having sort of pictures of flowers in a meadow again, and I thought that's what I was going to do. And I had a real job getting the paint on the brush and marking the page. But once I started, I really went to town, and the blue just took off at the top. And so I just washed it all over in the blue, and I left some white in the middle. And then I went down lower and I used the green I was going to use as the grass. So I washed again in the green. And as I'm doing this, there's just the white left in the middle. So I thought, well, I'll put some yellow in the middle because that's like light coming through. And as I was going, that it just sort of developed into this, I would say it's a seascape. I haven't got any emotion attached to it. I just think that it was me playing with paints and trying to sort of use different techniques in each situation. Like I think I just smeared the long strip at the side. What else did I do? I put on paint thicker, and then I got a sponge and I did some dabbing with the white bits. And then I did some more brush strokes down below, and I thought, oh, they look like almost like jellyfish. And they're sort of like almost transparent. But that when I first did the painting, there was no you see the dark magenta strips in the lower bit. They were just marks, and I thought they need some sort of depth to it. So I put the magenta bits on the side. So now you look as if it looks more round. And
these guys here,
no,
right here.
The stem or the brown bit behind here.
Yeah.
I can't show it. The brown bit, yes. And I put the magenta bits along the side of it.
Oh, right. Yeah, right in here.
And then I put some more magenta on the white jellyfish that looked like flowers. And as I did that, it sort of came out.
Right.
And I thought that was a really good way of doing it. Then I got a scraper like this. I've got several actually. Scraper.
Nice.
And I use that to do the white bits that look like stripes.
Oh,
at the
yeah.
bottom.
Yeah. I like
I
it.
used that. And then I did, got the sponge and I did spongy bits with the white. Can you see that? It's like a sponge.
Good. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, this is a pretty important painting for you, Sue, I think. Tell us how it felt when you were done with it.
Actually, I feel quite good that I even produced something that looks like a picture, or not a picture, but I mean, it's very abstract, but it just, to me, it speaks of undersea, but the light, do you know when you see them underwater and there's light coming through?
Yeah.
There's like a, almost like a beam of light coming through.
Yes, right.
And I can see that as a beam of light coming through the water.
Awesome.
Almost like God's presence. I was thinking of creation because that's what was in my head.
That's good.
And it has just come out like all his creation under the sea. And
Well, I'm very proud of you to get through that block, and look at what happened when you finally forced yourself to put some paint. Then you said, and then it just sort of came out, right? So that should show you something, that you just have to start and get over the lie that you can't, or that you're stuck, or that it's too hard, or fill in the blank. And this applies to all of us. Whatever it is we're doing, whether we're painting or, cooking or gardening or whatever, especially with creative activities, or running a business, that you can do it. You just have to start. And those of us who might have been in 100X, Pedro always said, done is better than perfect. So you can't get done if you don't start. So I'm really proud of you. Good job. And I don't really have that much to say critique wise, because I feel like it is what it is. And for you, it was pretty instrumental just to get it done. Sue, what you could do too is on your phone, convert it to a monotone and evaluate. There is a lot of similar values, even though color shows up. If you changed it, if you looked at it monotone, you might get an idea of how you might want to change some of it up. If you want, you don't have to do that here, but just give you an idea of values. And then don't forget, ladies, that when you're painting anything, if you want it to appear more in the foreground, first of all, darker will bring it forward. So a darker value will bring it forward. Also a warm color. So see these little guys, these little stemmy things that kind of almost look like coral. They're, it's hard to tell, but they look pretty warm, like a warm tone, like a reddish brownish color. And then of course that magenta or whatever you used to highlight it is actually a cool color, probably, but it's dark, so it works. So those are the things you keep in mind when you're playing with paint, like, okay, so don't stick necessarily with the same color. Even if you pick a color palette of blue, green, yellow, and red, like you have in this thing, within those there are cold and warm blue, greens, and reds and yellows. So you can still use that same color palette, but then you bring in some warms. And what I did here on this abstract is I was using, I think I was using manganese, maybe a phthalo green, and some green golds. And they're actually warm. Some of these are warm and some of these are cool. So what I did is I added, so over the cool, it looks warm because it's come on over. Oh, I gotta probably tap me to get, let's see.
When
No,
you're
just
saying,
stop sharing.
Claudia, when you're saying
Yeah.
to do the darker colors to bring it forward, that's where I'm confused.
Okay, dark will bring things forward. Let me, there we
So
go.
you're saying dark in the background?
No, dark in the foreground will bring things forward.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah. So, and then also I put this here, and I don't think it's reading right. I tried to get this to recede. So I put a cool dark to try to get that to recede in almost like a tunnel or a cave or something. I don't think it worked necessarily, but let's see, where else do we have this? So those clouds, the dark ones in the here,
Right,
they're more forward. You can tell they're more forward than
Yeah.
these, right? And
Okay.
it's because of the color. So if I made this all white here or yellow here, it
Okay.
would look as though it's equal in distance to that. And I wanted it to look more like this is in the distance.
Got
So
it.
by layering the dark
Yeah.
forward, it makes it look closer. Same thing
Okay.
with this tree isn't a great example because it's more silhouetted anyway, but this is darker than this. I mean, sorry, it is darker than this, but it's more in the foreground than this. You see,
Right,
because
right.
this is darker and this is lighter.
Yeah.
So that shows it in the foreground.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, same thing like even these shadows, right? It lets you know, oh, that's coming close. So
But
that's
Claudia?
how you translate that. Yes.
So I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm looking at the mountains and they're the darkest thing I can see. So that's kind of counterintuitive to how I've
It's
always
not, they're
looked
not
at it.
probably. They're probably not. So so are they at the horizon?
Well, here, I'll turned around. So can you see
Okay,
it?
that's because they're silhouetted a little bit, I think. But
Okay.
if you so wait, go back to that spot. Go back, and if you can, and just sit there a minute. Let's just take a look at this for a second. So in reality, very hard to, I said, so the lighting is tricking us. Yeah, the best way to do that, you can see that distant mountain is lighter in color than the fore mountain. Do you see
Yeah.
that?
You
Yes or
know,
no?
You're right. Yep.
Okay. So that forward mountain is closer, and the way to convey that in your painting would be to make that forward mountain a little darker in value, probably a warmer tone, and then that distant mountain is got a little more purplish, blue sky intermingling. See, what happens is that in a mountain in particular, it's the horizon and the atmosphere sort of, I'm not sure what's technically happening, but it kind of messes with the way we see it. So to convey it naturally, you have to make it look more like that. And usually those distant mountains tend to be kind of purplish, bluish, grayish, almost blending into the sky, depending on the day and the location. But in this same image, you'll notice the trees are quite dark. They're darker than the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay. And the slide is, while it's a different color and it's being highlighted differently, it's still hard to tell actually. But generally that's the principle.
Okay.
So if you start looking around, so you can bring your camera back. So if you start looking at nature or anything and you go, well, okay, how do I convey Now it depends. Let's say you're doing a still life and you've got a light shining on from here and you're painting it from here. Well, that foreground's going to be pretty lit up. And maybe the background's going to go lighter. Okay, so there are situations where it's going to be reversed. But that's oh wait, I got it. Here, I got to undo it. There we go. Okay, well, let's take a look at what you did, Sherilyn. If you did. Okay, all right. No problem.
It's, yeah.
No problem. Okay, Cindy, can we take a look at yours?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. Let's see how we're doing on time. I got to go find yours. Okay. Oh, let's see. I think yours were painted earlier in the week. There we go.
My crazy clown.
Okay. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I still really don't know. I think I was really practicing with the textures and just trying to get the paint together. And I love eyes, so I started off with eyes and snakes. I mean, I have a busy mind, it looks like. So
It does. Yeah, if that's a snapshot of your mind.
I have a very busy mind. So I really, honestly, I don't know what it all means. I've asked and I still don't understand. I mean, I know the key represents something and the snake going around the key, but I don't exactly know what.
Is this the key in the center here?
Yes.
Here? Okay, with this little weird little angle.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, okay. So who wants to comment on this? We'll open it up for sharing. Come on. Joanna, are you trying to unmute? There you go.
Yes, I love it. It is very intricate. It's like subliminal thing, you know, you were thinking that you're seeing this picture, the snake right there. Oh, there's an eye over there, and it looks like, oh, it could be a baboon face, and it could be something else. I didn't notice that baboon face until later when you step back and look at the bigger picture. But
Oh,
then when you
yes.
zoom
Okay,
in,
here. Yeah.
yeah, and then
Right
when you
in here, yeah.
zoom in, and then you find all the minor details, not minor, but you know, details, closer look. And I found it very fascinating, and there are so much to explore what you are going through or what's in your mind. It's like a exploration kind of an art that I find it very interesting. And like the fish, I see a fish up above the
Whoops.
I see a
Sorry,
fish
sorry.
above the flower. I don't know if that is a fish to you, but then
Okay,
and then the mouth looks like something different. Maybe a fish hook, or maybe it's a normal lips. I don't know. So the silver thing, or maybe a horseshoe that it's just something. So I find it very interesting. Do you know which part I meant? You know, just along the tail of the snake, there's a fish with a
Up here.
no, down there, down here. Oh, above that one is a fish to me. That's the yeah. So to me, it's a
Yes,
fish,
right.
and then the
Yeah.
mouth, is it a horseshoe, or is it a fishing hook, or maybe it's just regular lips that you meant to be. So I find it very, and then I see a seahorse right next to the key. So I find it very interesting. So
Wow.
thank you.
I love the imaginations at work. So here's what I love about this painting too is first of all, look at how we all respond to. There's so much to see. So it's the kind of painting you could see a painting like this in the Museum of Modern Art in San Francisco or something, you know, I mean, because they like interesting things, you know, and and it gives us a lot of entertainment by looking at it. And what I like about what you did, Cindy, is that you were not afraid to just play and explore and move paint and try things, and you weren't trying to necessarily make a thing, but then as you began to see a thing develop, like the eyes or even this face, and I guess that's kind of like hair, you know, the blue, that and let me get you back. Are you spotlighted? I don't need to be spotlighted. What am I doing here? This is what I want to do. Here we go. There you are. That you weren't afraid to develop things, and this almost looks like clouds in the brain area there.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. And I just think it's a great fun exploration. And I'm not suggesting we all do this, but I want us to be as brave as Cindy was to play and explore without having to make a thing, especially when it comes to abstract, or make it perfect. And then there is a lot going on in this painting, and you know, there is like a key and a snake and eyes and flowers and symbology in there that she doesn't necessarily even know why or what they mean. But as I told her already, just to sit with that and spend time with it, and eventually you'll get the meaning for that. And you'll be able to determine whether it's, you know, if what you want it to mean. You get to choose. You might not like what it comes out. You can make it whatever you want it to mean, right? You're the artist.
Well,
Anyway, good job. So, and just a reminder for everybody, when you take photos of your paintings, try to crop them either in your camera already, because it's better. So like when you take a photo, let's say I was going to take this, you know, I'd probably try to get it as straight as I can get it this way. And then when you take the photo, I don't know if you can see, you know, hold your camera and try to take the crook out of it. Because when a painting's back this way, right, we don't get the full thing until it's parallel to the wall. So you could either hang it on the wall, take a photo, you know, take an old painting down, just put it up, take a photo, make sure the lighting's good so that we can get a good representation of it. And then that way we can zoom in on it, because this won't let me zoom in any more than I'm already zoomed.
Got it.
Because it was from a faraway shot. Okay, let's see. Who else is, who did we not get to? We have a microwave. We didn't talk to the microwave. Okay, so I wanted to tell you about so we don't meet next week. We do, here we go. We do meet the week after. Okay, come here. Let's see, how do I get this thing? There we go. Yay, did it. Okay. I finally got rid of the balloons. Sandy helped me figure that out. Okay, so first let me just tell you, here is a representational, in a way, abstract painting. So this is a combination, right? It's a woman. We know it's a woman. We know she's kind of worshiping. But do you see how it sort of used some abstract-like techniques? This is why I want you to learn this, because until you get this layering down, you know, or this one, these clouds have a million different layers on it to get the effect. So that's why I keep pushing you to do this. Even this little painting is just a little abstract, but it's got lots of layers and some details that I added on top of it just to play. And, and then as I'm doing it, I realize, oh, I call this into the Father's heart. This like into the center of his heart. So I want you to now, you've practiced, you've incorporated some techniques, lots and lots of layers to get this effect or any effect. You're rarely going to sit down on a blank canvas and paint complete brushstrokes and have them back this way and have them work for you. So it's layering and layering and layering. And even whether you're doing abstracts and you have crazy abstract like Cindy's, or you have, you can still put layers and layers over that. You could put transparency over some of that to change the effect. You can, you have those kind of abstracts. You have the kind that Karen's trying to paint, of that sort of abstract floral. And then you have like Lucy's, the just color texture kind of abstracts. So, but all of them really require the skill of layering, understanding your colors, understanding how paint works, and finding techniques and brushstrokes and movements that you like, that represent you. And then you grow in that area. And maybe eventually you specialize in whatever that ends up in. And that's your primary voice, as we say. So every painting has a style. And like when you see my art at the Healing Rooms and we put it on display, and we have about 8 artists that sell our art in the lobby there every Saturday. And you can totally tell the different artists, because we all have a voice that's emerged, a look, a style, a brushstroke, a technique that's emerged.
Hi, Ollie. Hi,
Although
Ollie.
I do like both distinctly different things. Let me mute her for a second. Okay. So your assignment for this coming week and over the break while we're gone is to begin to paint a prophetic piece now. So I've got some, let me see. So I put some images on Pinterest for you to consider. I dropped the link inside of our group. Let me go back there. Okay. Why is it saying I'm offline? Hello. Oh, well, I see. Hold on a second, everybody. I should be on live on the internet. Okay, can you all hear me and see me good? Fine. Okay. Let me go back to this thing. Why is this giving me such a hard time right now? Facebook, I'm talking about. Okay, there we go. So in the group, I did drop the link for my Pinterest site. You can get it there. It's also on your homework page, which I will give you. The homework is going to be to paint a painting, a prophetic painting. Now, this painting can be abstract, it can be realistic, it can be a merge, a combination. Like this is sort of a combination type painting. All right, this is purely abstract. And then everything in between, I've painted, lots of paintings that are kind of a little bit of everything over the time. So we're going to do it based on these photos of deer. So let me find my, where I want to go here. I guess it's here, but not there. I want to go here. Okay. So I have put in here some photographs, some pretty photographs, even a couple of paintings of some deer drinking water. So you're going to go to mine, not this one. You want to go to my board. I never know how to navigate in this place. Oh, seriously? There, okay. Saved. There we go. Saved. That's what I want. Okay. I have a board called Deer Photography. That's where you want to go. And that's what the link is for. And I've just put some pretty pictures of some deer in there. And you can paint these any which way you want. So not all of these. You pick one and work on that this week. And I'm going to do it from Psalm 42. We're going to contemplate together. So let me also share my song as well, my music for you. I can find that as well. Now, when I did that, did it take off? Did you just lose the deer? Can it do both? You lost the deer. Okay. Fiddlesticks. Okay. Well, I guess we can't do music and show you pictures of the deer, but you could go look on the link. You could go into the Facebook group and grab the link, which is here, or I can put it in the chat. That's what I'll do. Doesn't like that either.
Where do we find it on the Pinterest site? Maybe we can just find it there.
Well, that's what I was just going to give you the way to, I was going to try to share this site.
Actually, on the Facebook, you posted on Facebook,
I
and when you
did
click the link, we automatically go there.
Yeah, that's probably the quickest way to do it.
Yeah.
Quicker
Where
than
on
me.
Facebook?
In Masterful Prophetic Artist.
Yeah, I'm on that. I'm not super good at Facebook, so
Oh, just scroll down a few.
it's under the highlights somewhere. Okay.
Nope, not under highlights. Just, I didn't highlight it. It's
Oh.
just,
The fourth post underneath the MPA session 6 playwork.
oh, here we go. Here we go. I finally found my way to the link, so I'll put it in the chat. There we go. Okay, there's the link in chat. So you can click on that, open it up on your page. I will go ahead and play some music. And then I'm going to read to you from Psalm 42. Can you hear the music? A little bit. Okay. So, you know, this is the familiar psalm with "As the deer pants for water." I'm going to read it to you out of Psalm 42 out of the Passion Translation. And let me know if you can hear me and if the music's too loud. Everything good? All right. I long to drink of you, O God, drinking deeply from the streams of pleasure, flowing from your presence. My longings overwhelm me for more of you. My soul thirsts, pants, and longs for the living God. I want to come and see the face of God. Day and night my tears keep falling, and my heart keeps crying for your help, while my enemies mock me over and over, saying, "Where is this God of yours? Why doesn't he help you?" So I speak over my heartbroken soul. Take courage. Remember when you used to be right out front leading the procession of praise, when the great crowd of worshipers gathered to go into the presence of the Lord? You shouted with joy as the sound of passionate celebration filled the air, and the joyous multitude of lovers honored the festival of the Lord. So then, my soul, why would you be depressed? Why would you sink into despair? Just keep hoping and waiting on God. your Savior. For no matter what, I will still sing with praise, for living before his face is my saving grace. Here I am depressed and downcast, yet I will still remember you as I ponder the place where your glory streams down from the mighty mountain tops, lofty and majestic, the mountains of your awesome presence. My deep need calls out to the deep kindness of your love. Your waterfall of weeping sent waves of sorrow over my soul, carrying me away, cascading over me like a thundering cataract. Yet all day long, God's promises of love pour over me. Through the night, I sing his songs, for my prayer to God has become my life. I will say to God, you are my mountain of strength. How could you forget me? Why must I suffer this vile oppression of my enemies, these heartless tormentors who are out to kill me? Their wounding words pierce my heart over and over while they say, where is this God of yours? So I say to my soul, don't be discouraged. Don't be disturbed, for I know my God will break through for me. Then I'll have plenty of reasons to praise him over and over again. Yes, living before his face is my saving grace. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. So even in that quick psalm, you might have remembered some of those tormenting times. And then you remembered what God's done. So focusing on what God's done for you and all the places of rescue, like Sandy's story, literal rescue, or the kinds of rescues like in my story where he just gave me a door to choose to walk through. Pick the right door. He's always there, ready to lead us into his safety and into his presence. So right now, if you can, just connect with Jesus to experience that familiar return of peace and comfort in his safety. Look him in the eyes. Rest your head on his chest. Feel his heartbeat. Beat and beat. Never quitting, never softening, always pounding love for you. Let your heart beat now. Grab hold of his and beat with his, like one. Feel his love around you, his joyful presence. So happy to be holding you. And realize that you are drinking that living water in our connection with him. He is your source of life and light, provision, safety, comfort in every storm. He was with you and he is with you. Now, in your mind's eye, let a picture develop of a way to express that image of what it feels like to be in the comfort of his care and his safety. As the deer pants for water, so your soul longs for him. We pant for him. We want to be with him, always, always with him. So let your imagination come to life and see an image in your mind of how you would like to relay that. And you can use one of those paintings or photos of a deer in the water. Maybe you just want to express it in movement and color as an abstract. Maybe you want to paint a very real looking deer or some sort of representation. You have free will, free choice, permission, my permission and the Lord's, to paint something that comes from this encounter, and I hope you will foster it further on your own and return to the presence of being comforted with the reminder of who he is and who he's been for you. That you can paint a prophetic painting. What would you want it to convey? So here you're going to begin to now represent your emotional heart love connection with Jesus through your art to touch someone else. And the real key is to stay connected with the flow, connected with his heart, totally connected. And this isn't going to be the result. So in reality, you get sort of 2 weeks to do this, and you can do 3 or 4 paintings if you want. You know, it does take time to get good at a craft, you know, it does. Give yourselves grace. In other words, don't expect to be the artist you admire, you know, don't expect to paint like Monet just yet, or Picasso, or Rembrandt, or Simon Bull. You're you, and you have all that you need within you. So feel free to play and explore and produce something that will touch not just you, but us and others with the good feelings, the good love, the truth of who Jesus is for you. And if anybody who can stay on, I'll stay on a couple of moments longer. And if you had a picture and you want to brainstorm whether that's a good idea or not, or how you might interpret it, I'm happy to do that. Or if you have no clue what I'm asking you to do, feel free to ask.
I just want to say it's so funny. I was looking at the pictures and I was like, boom, 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 boom. I want to paint this. I want to, and with this one, I'm painting it using this way. I'm like, I want to do so much, but I know my limited skill. But I want to try to paint several versions. Oh, maybe I could do abstract on this kind, and then this one will be like that. But I think I'm so pretty. So we'll see what happens.
I think you can do any and all of that. I watched the Prophetic Artist of the Year last night or the other night, and the guy who was selected to paint the commission, he was the winner of the contest, and then he was selected to paint a portrait of Sir Tom Jones of Wales. And what he went through to come up with an extraordinary portrait. I mean, the guy is an extraordinary artist, but he painted versions this big, about 10 of them, to get that final one that he wanted. And this is a highly skilled artist already. He whipped any of those were great, but he wanted to capture a certain thing, right? So he kept experimenting. So if you have time, experiment. Absolutely. Or make time to experiment if you can. Does anybody have any questions? Let me turn off the music and I will entertain whatever you need answers to.
So, well, when you brought up all the pictures, what I thought of was Psalm 1, you know, as a deer panteth by the waters. Anyways, so, and I envisioned me standing on a hill by a tree, and there was like a river down below, and Jesus was standing there with me. But then when you said for us to drink the water, it's like the Lord just kind of disappeared and I was drinking the water. So that's what I was
Okay,
envisioning.
so you were, but yourself, like as a woman, okay. Would you be willing, you don't have to, but would you be willing to paint a deer in the water, or an abstraction of that, or even just an abstract to represent the feelings of that? So,
Yeah, that would be.
So in other words, like, would it make a good painting to see a woman bending down and drinking the water? Or would it make a better painting to see a deer drinking the water? Or would it be a better painting to just have a powerful image, kind of an abstract version of that versus or a full abstract version of that? Yes, if you have to leave, Cindy, go ahead. Yes, and I'm available. I'm taking the week off next week, but I'm happy to react and respond over Facebook if you need stuff. Okay, love you all.
So do you mean that we don't have to follow the image? We can look at those image and improvise and come up with something.
Absolutely, be inspired by those images, but I would appreciate it if you could stay sort of channeled in that. In other words, like, don't go paint, we saw Sherilyn has a barn on her property, don't transition and paint a barn, because that's probably not representational unless it was. But, so staying with the idea of the deer in the water, the river, using any of those images to paint from would be great. That would be what I'd ideally like to see from you all.
So would it be like, I'm new, this proportional art divider thing? So taking the picture, well, I guess I'd use it on my computer, it could be bigger, but then trying to recreate the size, because I don't have a projector.
Right. So the best way, if you want to try to get the proportions right of an actual deer, so you could print it out. I'd print out a photo, download it, print it out, so that you get, well, I don't happen to have it close by, but get a photo. Then you could always tape your photo up next to your canvas or something, and then use the proportional divider that way. Don't try to do it from your phone. It doesn't work very well. I've tried that before. But on the other hand, you're also welcome to freehand it, just to give it a try, just to experiment and see. Now that you're honing some of your art skills in this, just in the visuals, right? And just week after week, you're starting to see things differently. So, you could, and you can do it the old fashioned way too. is, take your pencil and go, let's see, well, if the legs are that long and I want them to be that long, well, then that is to that. And then you're measuring against each other. That's how it works with the proportional divider too. I did do that briefly in last Tuesday night's class. Or you can just go on YouTube and watch how to use a proportional divider too. That's not a bad way to go find it, how to draw with a proportional divider. But yeah, I'm not so worried about whether you're going to create let me rephrase that. I'm not looking for a perfect deer. I'm looking for the expression of your, here, it moved me, of the expression of your heart and the impact of the piece and how it might reflect that more than painting a deer in water, standing and drinking, right? Because a lot of artists can do that, but not all artists can convey the emotion, the feeling, the presence, right? Okay, any other questions? Okay. All right, so I'm available this week if you need me. Just run some ideas by me. You could throw up a sample. Throw up. Let's use a different phrase. Post. Post maybe what you're doing, and if you need a tip, I'll do my best to respond to that and help you out. Okay. Yes. Go ahead, Jenny.
Can I have a painting like a close-up of the deer, rather than a background?
Of course you can. You can do anything you want. Yes.
Can I have a painting like I saw a couple of that images with the deer standing on the water and the reflection.
Yeah.
And one is pretty clear, the other one is a little bit with the way the swirl. So I was thinking, can I do a deer drinking the water, but the reflection is a woman?
You could. Yes, you could.
Okay, so I am free to do these wacky things. I'll see if I can do that or not, but I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it's a mess, then I will go back to original.
Don't confess negative beliefs before you even begin.
Okay. All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Claudia.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Have a great
Everybody
day.
else, any other questions, Sherilyn or Lucy?
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds like fun.
All right.
I'll
And
do my
Sherilyn,
best.
do you need to chat before we get off? Something you chatted with me about?